Hey guys, this is probably not going to be a very popular video, but I haven't put out a video in a while and I felt like this would be really easy to do. I have been going to antique malls and flea markets and various other places looking for just anything interesting, usually old video games, maybe some laser discs, some cassette tapes, just kind of old tech. And I found one of the oldest techs. This is actually a book. So I'm not a book person. And I'm not even a Norman Rockwell person, but I saw this big ass book at an antique mall nearby and it was $37. And I thought, man, this is a really cool book. Again, I'm not really big into Norman Rockwell, but I was leafing through it and I thought this is really cool. I looked it up online and saw that eBay had one for 10 bucks with another $10 for media shipping. And I thought, oh, what the heck? I put in a $11 bid and nobody else bid on it. So I ended up winning it for $10 plus 9 something shipping. So for less than 20 bucks, I got this shipped. I don't know that the condition is going to be all that great. It looked good in the photos, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm just going to turn into this. I don't know, again, a whole lot about it. It just looked super cool. So this should probably be a pretty quick video. I don't have much knowledge to share with you. This did come pretty quickly. I was pretty impressed at how quickly it came, actually, considering it was media mail, and I know that USPS isn't really the fastest. And actually they brought it right to my door because I think it was just too big to put in the what's it called, the cluster box for my neighborhood. I'm gonna get this stuff everywhere. So yeah, it looks like it has the dust cover and everything. So this is it. I believe that the person who posted this for sale, let me make sure this is still in frame. Oh, just barely. So the person that posted this said something about they had actually ordered it from whoever first published it. And it came in this box. Again, it's labeled Norman Rockwell. And yeah, if you don't know who Norman Rockwell is, well, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably not watching this. You're probably not one of the 10 people, God, this thing is heavy, who are gonna watch this video anyway. But just a quick, that is Norman Rockwell. He did a lot of magazine cover photos especially for Saturday Evening Post. So lots of pre and post-war US stuff. So you're gonna see a lot of war era stuff. I think even World War I, but certainly World War II, and I think a little bit afterwards. So he is basically a guy who painted kind of a slice of Americana at the time. It is going to be quite different than what we think of Americana nowadays. So a lot of people may think this is kind of, well, it's not, it's certainly outdated. I don't think there's anything particularly awful about this. I mean, it does have probably some subject matter that might be a little taboo now, which is kind of weird to say because he was most kind of, I don't know, kind of all-American kind of guy, right? But anyway, let's just kind of start taking a look at it. So again, I don't know if this is in frame. This is such a big book. All right, so I think that's pretty much close enough. If it's a little crooked or whatever, so be it. So text and cover by Christopher Finch, 332 magazine covers. That is a lot of magazine covers. It's a self-portrait. See if I can find out when this was published. I want to say it was This is a really nice quality book. It's very thick paper. Okay, so it's Random House, published on New York. And let's see, copyright 1979. So I don't know if this is a first printing. I'm not a big book guy. I think it might be. I'm not sure how to tell. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. This book is really cool regardless of when it was printed. So, wow, he died in 1978. So the year after, I guess this was like in memoriam of him. But here's the contents. So he's got... Norman Rockwell portrayed Americans, okay, chose to see themselves. Okay, so there's a lot of, obviously it's not going to list every single one of his paintings, but it does kind of break it down, I guess, from different subject matter. So we're just going to get started. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, obviously. Wow, this print, this thing is gigantic. Here's a Sharpie for reference. It is really, really big. So there's a little forward, bottom. I love his Christmas stuff. So this is a New York Post cover, Saturday Evening Post, Saturday Evening Post cover, December 16th, 1933. So he has a lot of, you might, even if you don't know who I can't speak, even if you don't know who Norman Rockwell is, this style of art you may recognize. Seems very dated nowadays. The binding is pretty good on this book. The pages are very crisp and white, so that looks really cool. Yeah, so, oh, there he is right there. He's at work in Massachusetts. So there's a little bit about his life. I guess this is his progress over work here. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so there was a swastika there that was removed. Gives a World War II housewife ready to do battle against the Axis-powered weapons available to. Okay, detailed pencil sketch shows how carefully Rockwell planned his covers on paper before committing anything to canvas. The only substantial difference between the sketch and the finished painting is the elimination in the latter of the metal swastikas and Imperial Japanese brickbats. You can see those that the young woman is dodging in the pencil study. So I guess those are these here. So those are missing. I wouldn't say that this was propaganda as much as it was patriotic. I know maybe some people don't see the difference in the two, but you can be patriotic and proud of your country or wherever you're from, and not be considered just straight up propaganda. But most of this stuff's going to be, well, a lot of this stuff's going to be politically, just free of political statements. It's just Americana at the time. You're going to notice a lot of white people, a lot. So we'll see if this goes on, if he starts kind of getting a little bit more diverse. But to be honest, again, it was a slice of life back then, and this is just the way it was. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, that's just the way it was. You can't deny it. Corporations were run by white people. Women tended to be in positions like secretaries and nurses as opposed to doctors and CEOs as they are now. So it is a little bit different. But again, this is of the time. Right, so this is, wow, 1967. Very cool. This page is a little bit more yellow. I think they all kind of get a little bit yellow from here. An issue with the binding a little bit here. Saturday Evening Post covers from 1916 to 1919. So again, this is probably what most people know him for, is the Saturday Evening Post covers. So it's Christmas, December 1920. And his style is just very recognizable. It's realistic human proportions, but they still have this kind of quality about them that lets you know, like, hey, this isn't photorealistic. It's stylized, but it looks very, very human, right? There's a lot of warmth in his colors, and it's just, his compositions are amazing. You can definitely see at the time, you know, the different dress, really cool. This reminds me a lot of like the Little Rascals or Our Gang, like Alfalfa and Spanky and all those guys. By the way, I'm not old enough to remember these times. This is way before my time. Sometimes I talk to people or my kids or other younger folks and like, hey, do you know this and that? And I'm like, oh, that was before I was born. And I'm like, bro, I mean, I wasn't alive when the Beatles were a thing, but like, I know who the Beatles are. I know who Norman Rockwell is. I wasn't alive in the 20s and 30s and during the World War II, but you know, I still know who they are, right? This guy is just like, he's a big thing, you know. He was very, very big, and his artwork transcends generations. I was interested enough to order this, and again, this is way before my time, but it's just super cool to look at. That's kind of a creepy looking clown. Off-duty clown. Interesting. Okay, we're starting to get into World War One. Here's welcome. Here we see some sailors. Party games. We got Britain there. A lot of kind of wholesome, down home, you know, Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn type of vibes. You know, it kind of reminds me of Disney as well, right? Kind of like Middle America. He does have some stuff that, you know, urban type stuff like New York City and things like that. But a lot of this stuff is kind of like, you know, Middle America type things. You know, falling asleep here while you're supposed to be doing asleep on the job. We're supposed to be doing some work. A lot of really cool holiday stuff. Right here we see that we're in winter time. Very cool. Oh, wow, Ouija board. Wow, it actually says the Ouija board. Very cool. So I'm not super up on my Norman Rockwell. I don't know all the stuff. I just think his artwork is really cool. I think this book is really cool. It's a really heavy, very heavyweight book. Oh, look at this one. Debate. This still happens. Republican, Democratic, married. This still happens today, right? We have differences of opinion, and sometimes we think, hey, we've evolved so much, but really a lot of the core problems that we used to have, we've had for a long, long time, differences in politics and religion, socioeconomic differences. It's been going on forever, right? You got rich people, poor people, and everybody in between. Really cool stuff. Also kind of giving me vibe of like, Christmas Carol, whatever, although I think this was quite a bit after that. A lot of these stuff, like, young kids, like this transcends generations, right? Some kid looking up to, now this could be Instagram, and some kid in junior high or middle school, as they call it now. They used to call it junior high when I was going to 7th and 8th grade. But, self-conscious about his looks. This still holds true today, right? People still look to media, right, for the ideal man or the ideal woman, and you still see. It's been going on for decades. We forget, right? New technology coming in all the time. Now we have internet and iPhones and Android phones and all this kind of stuff, right? But we've always had new technology, and newspapers, when they came to being, that's how people were getting their news. And it's the same story retold over and over. And I think that's what's really cool about his artwork, is a lot of it still has value and still holds true. And plus, you can just appreciate it for the art itself, right? The artwork is really amazing. Look at this detail in these shoes. Norman Rockwell was just a master, and then the master of composition too. It's just, he was just so good, right? I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. So right now we're 1923. Let's go. We're still in the 20s here. Let's jump to the Great Depression. So we'll go forward a bit. So 1920, 1933. Let's jump in. Okay, so 29. Stuff's coming in. Merry Christmas. I love all this old Christmas stuff. Nothing up his sleeve. Stock exchange quotations. Here we go. So I think we're going to start to see a lot more stuff about the state of things, right, during the 30s. Here's Gary Cooper, who's he played a lot of cowboys. He was a famous Hollywood actor. So most of the times, I think his subject matter were fictitious characters he just created, again, like kind of to represent people from that era, from that time, or from certain socioeconomic parts of, wherever you were from. But sometimes he actually painted real people. Like, that is actually a person. Gary Cooper is a real person. Well, he's of course long since gone, but he was a real person at the time. Look, this, what do you think of now? iPhone, and we're having lunch or dinner, and the guy's he's got his face buried in a newspaper. So even, breakfast, right? So almost 100 years ago, we're complaining now, like, oh, nobody has conversations anymore. All they do is stare at their phone all the time. They have their nose in their phone. Look, same thing, except for phones were newspapers. Same thing. We battle the same things over and over, right? We just call them different things. More Christmas stuff. Honestly, let's see when we really start to get into the core of the Great Depression here. This is still all right. Things seem kind of happy and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just kind of. This is probably harkening back to his days as a kid, right? Think of Huck Finn again, and Tom Sawyer, all that stuff. Yeah, you don't really do this anymore. Child psychology now. You can't even touch children. You get in big trouble. Child Protective Services are on your ass. You can't. Used to be able to spank a kid at school, not anymore. You can't do anything like that. No corporal punishment anymore. A lot of stuff on kids. He had lots of dogs, right? Lots of pets and stuff. That's not a pet, but a very common theme. There's another little dog there. The gift. So let's move forward a bit. Barbershop Quartet. Park bench. This again transcends, like, it's amazing how stuff stays the same. The more it changes, the more it stays the same. Let's move forward a little bit. Okay, we're going to go into World War II. Wow. This is kind of poignant, right? The exploitation of Native Americans, right? Just putting it out there, right? It's a post cover, April 23rd, 1938. This is interesting. Couldn't think of what to put on the cover, so he just put someone trying to come up with the cover. Very cool. Got football, Chester, baseball. 100 years of baseball. Wow. 1839 to 1939. Look at those crazy uniforms. Interesting. Playing marbles. That's something you don't see anymore. More Christmas stuff. Love the Christmas stuff. And I keep saying that. I don't know how many pages I've gone through, but I think I've yet to see a minority person in here. Not one Black or Latino or Asian person at all. Here we go. Wartime stuff. And again, I don't know much about him as a person, but I'm not saying he was, purposely trying to keep out minorities, but it's certainly looking weird. Now we got Rosie the Riveter, right? So women, I think at this point, women start to come into their own as far as in the workplace, right? So traditionally, hard labor type stuff was limited to males, but as the war went on and males kind of went off to war, the women had to pick up the slack. And I think ever since then, it's kind of gone more and more to being equal, right? So men and women these days, you don't ever really think about too many things where it's just for women or just for men anymore. Well, it still exists. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's certainly not the way it was. This is an interesting one. I actually looked at this one before the Gillis Heritage. I'm not sure if there's any significance to being Gillis. I don't know if that's a significant thing, but it shows that basically the Gillis men have been fighting wars their entire life. And you got World War II, World War I. You have all these wars going all the way back to, I don't even know when this is, great Grandpa Gillis. In the Revolutionary War or something, I'm not sure. Here we have a presidential, wow. This is Truman and Dewey, right? That was the famous newspaper where it says Dewey defeats Truman and Truman's holding up, which is actually, of course, incorrect. Truman won the election. But, in November 4th, right before the elections, 1944, there's still a question of who was going to win. It is Truman, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because it kind of looked to me, wait, no, it's not. Wait, is that Roosevelt? Oh my God, I look like an idiot. I don't know. Maybe it is Roosevelt. But in any case, taxes, this is still a thing, except for we don't do it on paper anymore. Though I still have a lot of receipts and lots of paperwork, but most stuff's done online now. But still. Coming home, May 26, 1945. You see, again, a lot of little dogs and people relaxing and getting back to being normal, right? Playbill. Post-war years. Let's move forward a little bit. There's Dwight D. Eisenhower. Outing. So this is kind of the Fabulous 50s, or leading up to the Fabulous 50s, where worn out woman, Christmas rush. Here's Dewey and Truman. That was Roosevelt. I guess Dewey ran again, but yeah, the other one's definitely Roosevelt. I was thinking, yeah. Anyway, this is the Dewey defeats Truman famous thing. Before the date. Oh, okay. Very cool. I've yet to see one person of color. There's Dwight D. Eisenhower, President of the United States. Mark on everything. There's Bob Hope. So yeah, he does do Adlai Stevenson, another political figure. Well, quite a few. There's Richard M. Nixon, John F. Kennedy. Bob Hope. I like Bob Hope. And kind of towards the end here, the glasses, yeah. Baseball was still kind of a big part. I think football's pretty much replaced baseball as kind of our national pastime now. I know they still call it that, but I think it's kind of football now. It's the Boston Red Sox. We're still under the curse at that point until much, much later where they finally won another World Series. Really cool. I think we're getting into the tail end here. Oh, that's a pretty famous scene, the runaway. Really cool. Yeah, I want to say I went through this whole thing. I mean, I didn't go to every single one, but yeah, no, it's just crazy. Like, not a single minority, like, not even in the background. Oh, here we go. 1961. Now we got something going on here. This is more do unto others, okay? So we have folks from all nationalities, all races and religions. Really cool. It's I guess it took some time. I mean, that's just how things were, right? It might have been that he couldn't even paint things like that because they wouldn't have published it, or they would have gotten mad or whatever. I mean, it was a different time. All right, there's John F. Kennedy. A lot of portraits of folks. Jack Benny. That's pretty much it. But anyway, yeah, really cool book. I think it was totally worth $20. It makes a great coffee table book if a little bit big, right, and heavy. But anyway, really cool. So thanks for watching this video, all 10 of you. I appreciate it. I'll be coming back with more tech-related stuff here pretty soon. I have a slew of videos that I have on the docket. I just haven't made time to do it. But I have one coming up, I think, that's very current technology. And then, of course, as always, I have some retro technology that I'll be making videos of. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next one.